I'm not going to stop. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava. You got to sing too. Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Now, you repeat. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Padajana Randana Yashodanandana Padajana Randana Padajana Randana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Bhad Paramahansa Parikacharya Stota Sadhata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Bhad Paramahansa Parikacharya Stota Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavanda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Now you were here last night, right? Ishtadeva? Oh yeah, I think it's 22.
22, yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're on page 675, Andrea. Okay. On this 27th day of June, 2023 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 18, conclusion, the perfection of renunciation, text number 22. Yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam atatvartha vad alpamcha tattamasam udaritam yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam atatvarta vadalpamcha tattamasamudaritam yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam atadvarta vadalpamcha tattamasamudaritam yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam atatvarta vadalpamcha tattamasamudaritam. Go ahead, Ishtadev. Yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin karye saktam ahaitukam atatvarta vadalpamcha tattamasamudaritam. Not yet? Okay. Yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin. Yattu Kṛṣṇa vad ekasmin. Very good. Karye saktam ahaitukam atadvarta vadalpamcha tattamasamudaritam. Not bad. Did you study the Sanskrit pronunciation guide? In the back? At home? Very good. Very good. Yeah, it'll come naturally. If you want, I can send you, I have a recording of the whole Gita with the Sanskrit and just the English translations. You can listen and repeat. Just write to me. I'll give you my email later. All right, word by words. Yat, that which, to, but, Kṛṣṇa vat, as all in all, ekasmin, in one, karye, work, saktam, attached, ahaitukam, without cause, atattva artavat, without knowledge of reality, alpam, very meager, cha, and tat, that, tamasam, in the mode of darkness, udharitam, is said to be. Translation. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. The, quote, knowledge of the common man is always in the mode of darkness or ignorance, because every living entity in conditioned life is born into the mode of ignorance. One who does not develop knowledge through the authorities or scriptural injunctions has knowledge that is limited to the body. He is not concerned about acting in terms of the directions of Scripture. For him, God is money, and knowledge means the satisfaction of bodily demands. Such knowledge has no connection with the absolute truth. It is more or less like the knowledge of the ordinary animals, the knowledge of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Such knowledge is described here as the product of the mode of darkness. In other words, knowledge concerning the spirit soul beyond this body is called knowledge in the mode of goodness. Knowledge producing many theories and doctrines by dint of mundane logic and mental speculation is the product of the mode of passion. And knowledge concerned only with keeping the body comfortable is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Om jnana timirandasya jnanandana shalakaya chakshu unmilitam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So it sounds like an oxymoron. You know what an oxymoron is? Yeah. The knowledge in the mode of ignorance. What is that? But that's, the idea is that every living entity, not even just human beings, there has to be some knowledge. You have to know, even instinctually, like some cat or dog or lion or tiger, what's edible, what's not, how to find your food, how to claw this way and that way. That's basic rudimentary knowledge. But it doesn't help you to move along the path to the goal of life. Certainly animals, they don't have the capacity to understand. But even human beings, especially as we move through the Kali Yuga, and it gets more and more problematic, let's say, it's more difficult to find or to cultivate knowledge that's really knowledge as we know it from the Shastra, which is useful for attaining liberation from birth and death and returning back home, back to Godhead. That's real knowledge. And even knowledge in the mode of passion, which is highly developed in our modern society, especially in the West, how to manipulate the material energy in order to produce, Prabhupada would always give the skyscraper buildings as a metaphor for that kind of knowledge. It takes so much skill, you have to go to school, engineering, how to bring all the materials together. There's a lot of knowledge involved. But the end result is sense gratification. How to build a big office building so you can make more money and enjoy your senses. Ultimately, it's a perversion of knowledge. Real knowledge is that which, like we find in the Bhagavad Gita, gives you awareness of who you are, of actually who you are, what the goal of life is, and how to achieve it. Prabhupada, in one passage in the Bhagavad Gita, knowledge means knowledge of matter, spirit, and the controller of both. That you can summarize in knowledge. There's also a threefold division of knowledge in spiritual knowledge. Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, and Prayojana Gyan. Gyan means knowledge. So Sambandha has different meanings, but the basic meaning is to understand what is this world we're in. What is the source, or who is the source of that? Who are we as spirit souls, and what is the relationship between all those? That's Sambandha Gyan. Then the next Gyan is Abhideya. Now Abhideya Gyan is the practice, but it implies understanding the Prayojana. Prayojana means the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not even going back to Godhead, but it is attaining pure love for Krishna. Well, let me say more precisely, regaining and reviving our original pure love for Krishna. Now it's perverted. That original love has turned into myriad attractions for gratification in this material world. And sometimes it can be, that love is manifested in the most pure way, Prabhupada said, as a mother's love for a child. That's very real. But it's temporary. The child grows up, changes so much, and eventually there's death or some other separation, and it's gone. So, but the closest thing we have to this selfless love. Love really is defined as desiring to please the other, the beloved. If one is focused completely on how I can please the other, that's the purest form of love. But on the material platform, it's impossible to achieve. It's always tinged with some selfish element. And ultimately, as I say, it's temporary, which is just the opposite of what eternal love is. So, real Gyan is understanding these points. And I'd like to just review this. There's actually 9 foundational points of knowledge. And the 10th one is called Dashamu. Dasha means 10, is the source of that knowledge. You have to remember where the source of the knowledge is. And then if you get, you can be exposed to it, then you can begin to understand the different other 9 points, which are divided into Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayoja. I know it's a little much, but it's worth at least knowing about this. So I'll chant one verse. This verse was composed by one of our great acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the father of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he goes like this: Amnaya prahatatvam hadamiha padamam sarva shaktim risabdim tadvinangshangsta jivan prakatika balitan tadvimuktangssta bhavat beda beda prakasham sakalam abhihare sadhanam shuddha bhaktim sadyam tadpitim evetu buddhishjajanan gaurachandra bhajetam. These 10 principles of knowledge were taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who I worship, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this verse. So here, the first point is very important, and that is, what is the source of knowledge? It's called Amnaya. Now, Amnaya is what we're doing here. We're receiving the knowledge of Vedic knowledge, the essence of the Vedic knowledge, as Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita, through the parampara. If we just had the translations here without the purports, we wouldn't be able to understand what's going on. But Prabhupada explained so nicely. And he's basing his purport on commentary by one of our great acharyas, Baladeva Vijayabhushan, I won't get into, who was following directly from the 6 Goswamis who heard from Lord Chaitanya, who was Krishna himself. So we're hearing the words of Krishna as explained by the pure devotee of Krishna. This is Amnaya. So the first point is, who is God, which is what is the source of this world? Hadamiha Padamam. Hari is another name for Krishna. Hari is a name for Krishna, means he who takes away. What does he take away? He takes away your bad karma. He takes away your suffering, and he takes away your heart. He takes your heart. So his name is Hari. Hadamiya Padamam. Krishna is supreme. What about him? Sarva Shaktim. He's full of all kinds of energies. Now that's a topic in and of itself. Krishna touches on it here in the 7th chapter. The material energies. We don't commonly call them energies, but they are Shakti. The solid matter is an energy. The liquids, the gases like the air. So earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then the subtle ones that we don't, mind, intelligence, and ego, the most refined. There's 8 of them, more and more progressively subtle. These are the material energies, but then there's the marginal energy, we ourselves. Why are we marginal? Well, we're purely spiritual, but because we're minute, we're infinitesimal. Hare Krishna, welcome. Page 675. We can turn our attention away from Krishna and onto this material world, and then we get enwrapped in the material world. And we did that eons ago. And we've been entangled ever since. We completely forgot the spiritual world, and we're acting on the illusion that we're this body. Whatever body we happen to be in, there's millions of species. If you're a cat, you act like a cat. If you're a dog, you bark like a dog. If you're an insect, you don't have much, Anyway, you get the picture. But every single one of these species, including the plants, everything, is a spirit soul. Progressively covered or uncovered with consciousness. In human life, it's quite uncovered. So it's a rare and it's a valuable form where we can actually understand anything. So, back to our description. So, Hadamiya Padamam. That's the first point. That's number 1. And he's full of energies. Material, spiritual, and the marginal energies of us were all emanations from Krishna. But he's not just a powerhouse, Rasabdim. He's an ocean of rasa. He's a person. He's a person in the most complete sense. Means that rasa is that feeling that you exchange with something that you love, that they're attracted to. There's even like material rasa, because I just love this couch, I just love to sit on the couch, sleep on the couch, whatever, you know. So there's a rasa there. The couch is in a kind of a shanta ras, simply waiting for you to give some service, you know. But, you know, every day I take a walk. I've been doing it regularly. It's very good. It's a mile, a little up the hill here on Cass for half a mile and half a mile down. And it happens to be the time when people are walking their dogs. And so I see, you know, sometimes they have two dogs, you know, and they're walking the dog. So they have the rasa with the dog. I try to greet him and say good morning. Some people say good morning. Some people have the ears, they're listening to something or engaging in some phone conversation, you know. Anyway, so the rasas are universal. Without that, there's no meaning to life. But all of the material, you know, rasas we have with other people and dogs and everything, it's just a pale reflection, perverted reflection of our original rasa, our relationship with Krishna, which is fulfilling, doesn't end, and is ever blissful. So Krishna is an ocean of rasa. He lives for that, and in the spiritual world, that's what's going on. He's enjoying, you know, in Goloka Vrindavan. So he's got the with the cows, and every element is completely conscious there. Even the water, there's nothing inanimate. You know, the river Yamuna plays a very important role in his pastimes. And the cows, the birds, the bees, what to speak of the gopis and the gopas and his elders and all these. He's got individual rasas with that in a relationship, and that's what constitutes premananda. So that's Krishna. Now who are we? Tadbin angshang shajivan. We're separated angsha. Means that we are eternally individuals. We will never merge and lose our individual identity. That's a very important point, because the Mayavadis is always trying to merge. We never merge. But we're been separated angsha of the Supreme Lord. And because angsha means part and parcel, we have Krishna's qualities in minute degree. You know, he has a form and senses, and so do we. He wants to engage in, you know, relationships, and so do we, and like that. So angsha jivan, and then prakritika balitan. Some of these jivas, many of these jivas, such as we, are swallowed up by maya, by illusion. We've been in this material world, far from the spiritual world, forgetting that for countless eons, in different species of life, 8,400,000, and now we have the human form of life, and more important, not only human, but human form of life with some interest in these subject matters. So we're this close, we shouldn't waste this chance. Chant Hare Krishna, cultivate this knowledge, and we can realize these things. So many souls, a minority by the way, we're in the minority, like said to be, I think, 1/4 of the living entities, but there's millions and trillions of them. But anyway, we're in this material world, different planets, different bodies, and going round and round, birth, death, old age, and disease. So that's swallowed up by Maya. But tadvimuktangs, some are liberated, and even those who are swallowed up can be liberated. So this is another point. Then comes a very unique scientific principle that Lord Chaitanya established. Beda beda prakasham sakalam abhihare. That everything, both animate and inanimate, is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. We are one with Krishna, in that we are spiritual, we have his qualities in minute degree, but we're separate individuals. We never merge. And that's true of everything. So now, that's all in way of sambandha gyan. Who is God? Who are we? What is this world? All these energies. This is what's what. Now comes, well, how can I realize this? Abhideya, the practice. And that's one point. Sadhanam shuddha bhakti. The sadhana means the practice, and the practice is shuddha bhakti. Shuddha bhakti means pure devotion to Krishna without any tinge of personal desire. The desire only being to, how can I please Krishna? That's the ultimate thing. And because we're part and parcel of Krishna, we also participate in that bliss, that happiness. That's the real way in which we can enjoy eternally without any decrease in pleasure. Because Krishna is that way. He's God. If you were God, wouldn't you want to enjoy all the time? Or would you only want to, you know, oh, now what am I going to do? No. It's always so we can join in that. And then the final goal of all this, sadhanam, priti, I forget, pritam, sadhanam shuddha bhaktim, sadhyam tad pritam eved. So the sadhya, so you have the sadhana and the sadhya. Sadhya is the goal of the sadhana. And the ultimate goal of all this is pure love for Krishna, which is not alien to us. We've had it in dormant state for millions of births. But that's to reawaken that pure love, and that includes liberation, and it includes going back to Godhead. Everything is included in there. So those are the 9 points, and that's real gyan. Now that's not even knowledge in the mode of goodness, that's pure goodness. But if one is in the mode of goodness, you'll be more attracted to develop this pure knowledge. But if you're in mode of passion, what's in it for me? That's the mode of passion. That's the mantra for the mode of. What's in it for me? Nothing. Goodbye. If you can't get past that. But ultimately, everything is in it for you. But you don't know who you are. That's the problem. What's in it for me was, how can this increase my bodily and mental pleasure? But you're not the body. You're not the mind. You're the soul. And so that's the wrong question to ask. And the people in the mode of passion, you get degraded to the mode of ignorance. And that's what's going on. So I thought I'd share that with you because he's talking about knowledge in different modes here. Any questions, comments? Yeah, you gotta get that mic. Somehow these mics are always in the wrong place.
Okay, it's working. So point I wanted to make, I think about this a lot. I still think about this a lot. I spent, since, 1973, 74, following Paramahansa Yogananda and the self-realization people. And I occasionally go back for like college reunion to go back. I know some people there. And now when I hear them talk, I think, oh, this merging into the infinite, it's like, what happens to my personality? What happens to me? I mean, that and nirvana, I never could fathom it. It's like, well, how does that work?
See, you've been inoculated.
And now when I look back on this, and just as you've been discussing, I realize, I don't want to lose. I mean, I don't want to be an egotist, but I want to be a servant of Krishna. I don't want to lose a sense of being that servitor.
Yeah.
The idea of the lover and the beloved and the rasa.
Yeah.
That really rings the bell.
Yeah.
Merging into the void doesn't do it.
See, the whole thing is just like, I mean, I don't want to disparage any religion, but my understanding, I haven't had too much exposure, is that like the most religions, their motivation is more like fear of God. If I don't avoid sin or atone for my sins, I'm going to get punished heavily, right? And so the basis is fear. Where is the loving relationship with God? Unless you have that, this is based on fear. It's that I want to get free from all this suffering in this world, and the way to do it is to get liberated from the bonds of the body. And that means, well, I've got to, the form, all I know of form, the Prabhupada talks about this, chapter 4, text 10, purport, if you read that, is that the impersonalists are afraid of getting another form because all they know is this material form. But the point is there is a spiritual form that doesn't have all the, Prabhupada's famous use of this word, inebrieties, disadvantages, negativities of the material form. Because it's the famous throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You're negating your individuality, your senses, your all of these, just so that you'll be free from taking birth and old age and death. But it's self-defeating. And there's this famous verse Prabhupada quote all the time from the 10th canto, when Krishna's in the womb of Devaki, and he's going to take birth. So the demigods come down, they're kind of in a secret part of the prison, they can't be seen, but they're offering these prayers. And the most famous one, Prabhupada would always quote in this regard, Ye nye adabindaksha vimukta maninas tvayasta bhavad avishuddha buddhaya Aruha Kṛṣṇa padang padang tata patantyadho anadriti yushmadangraya. He says, O Lord-aside Lord, besides the bhaktas, the devotees who are worshipping you, there are others. Ye anye. Anye means others. Aurobindo said, Vimukta maninas, who think that they're liberated, because this is their goal. Vimukta maninas. But they're opposed to worshipping you, Ashtabhavan, and therefore their intelligence is not really pure. And even though some of them, not all, but some through great austerity, can rise up to the Brahman platform, Parampadam. Aru, you can hear, the Sanskrit language is filled with onomatopeias, words that sound like what they mean. So here's this word, Kṛṣṇa. That's hard austerities. Just imagine to try to suppress the senses and the mind of any engagement in sense gratification without the deities, without the holy name, without the prasadam, without the association, sitting on a rock somewhere, in a river in the Himalayas or in the forest. That's Kṛṣṇa. And a very, very few can only do it, So, but even if they do that, they may come to the point, oh, I'm in Brahman, But it's boring. It's like the soul wants engagement in Krishna Leela, not just to be free. It's like if you're in a hospital and you're sick and you're lying in the bed and you think, oh, when will I get well? When will I get well? And finally you're cured. You walk out of the hospital and you just sit down on the curb. Now finally I'm well. Does that make any sense? No, you go back to all the activities that you were doing. So this is what this impersonal emerging is. Once you've engaged a little bit in bhakti yoga, and you taste just a little bit of it, a kirtan, the prasadam, whatever, then that loses its attraction, because you can see how dry it is and self-defeating. And I know personally, because I was deeply involved with Ramakrishna mission, But I was still a little spoiled when I joined. He has this thing, yatamat tatapat. There's a certain phrase that, for Ramakrishna. Whatever your mind comes up with as a path, that's your path. So he had that, but they emphasized impersonalism. So I was already into bhakti. And they had a little bhakti book that was written, that I was able to read and get. And even, believe it or not, the 11th canto, the Bhagavad Gita, had been translated by Nikalananda, who was Prabhupada met, Anyway, we don't want to go there. We want to go back to Godhead. All right, so knowledge and the mode of ignorance. That's why he called it knowledge, quotation mark, as the purport starts. Text 23, top of 276. Niyatam sangarahitam araga dveshatakritam apala prepsana karma yat tat sattvikamutchate. Okay, now he's talking about action. Knowledge we had knowledge and now action. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruit or results is said to be in the mode of goodness. Purport. Regulated occupational duties as prescribed in the scriptures in terms of the different orders and divisions of society, performed without attachment or proprietary rights, and therefore without any love or hatred, and performed in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the Supreme, without self-satisfaction or self-gratification, are called actions in the mode of goodness. So Prabhupada puts in the Krishna consciousness understanding of this action in the mode of goodness. This is, action in the mode of goodness is basically, as described, you're performing your duty nicely. You're fulfilling your role in society. You're not overly attached to the fruits. You don't want to accumulate money, become a millionaire, and enjoy it like anything. So it's a sign that you're receptive to the Krishna consciousness, which is the ultimate form of action. And Prabhupada talks about that, in the purport. Performed in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the Supreme. That's pure devotion. So it's pure and it's purifying, such activity. That's what action in the mode of goodness is. All right. There's hardly a purport there, and there's no purport in the next one. Yattu kamipsuna karma sahankarena va punaha
sahankarena va punaha
kriyate bahulayasam
kriyate bahulayasam
tadrajasamudaditam.
tadrajasam tadraritam.
But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. Well, that must be self-evident. You don't need a purport. Anubandham chayam hingsam
Anubandham kshayam hisham
anapeksha cha paurusham
anapeksha chaparusam
mohadārabhati karma
mohadarāgati karma
yattat tamasam uchyate.
yatatamasam uchyate.
That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport. One has to give account of one's actions to the state or to the agents of the Supreme Lord called the Yamadutas. Irresponsible work is destructive because it destroys the regulative principles of scriptural injunction. It is often based on violence and is distressing to other living entities. Such irresponsible work is carried out in the light of one's personal experience. This is called illusion. And all such illusory work is a product of the mode of ignorance. Ah, Krishna. So this is, you see that it's action in the mode of ignorance because it's not based on any scriptural injunctions, and it's completely self-centered without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others in the mode of ignorance. So this is destructive. Even, anyone who is trying to maintain a society or run a state, this is the kind of activity that is very destructive. And so you have a police institution and justice institution to take these people out of society so that they don't degrade everything. And this is always the danger because we have the process of education also includes the sites you get on the internet. In other words, this is giving you knowledge in the mode of ignorance that's teaching you the reason you're suffering is because of those people over there who look so much different from you, or who are coming into the country, taking, In other words, to whip up the animosity and the sense of victimhood. And this is a very dangerous thing, and it's happening right now in this country and all over the world. So that's, and it creates havoc in society. And we see, we never had all these shootings. It's crazy. Every day practically, there's this, 6 people are killed in this school in Ohio or something. Who ever heard of that? It's a sign of tremendous frustration in people's lives, and then they have a free rein to buy any gun that they want. You can see how the combination is just insanity. So that's, it's happened before in society, and the countervailing force is this movement, is to, take anyone who takes part in the process and is open to it and cultivates some of the knowledge undergoes a transformation. And there's so many stories. The hunter, Narada Muni met a hunter, and he was taking pleasure in half-killing animals. Narada's in the forest, right? He wanders everywhere. And suddenly he sees here and there's these animals writhing in agony. They've been shot through, but they haven't been killed purposely. What is this? So he finally comes across the hunter. And the hunter says, he's a little pious. He recognizes Narada Muni. He says, "Oh, great sage, if you want something, I'll give you some deer skin if you need, No, I don't want any skin, You're responsible for those animals? Yes. My father trained me in that way, So I said, okay, look, you want to be a hunter, but kill animals outright rather than leaving them in agony, And then the hunter was, resisting, so Narada Muni explained, or he revealed to him that these animals you're killing, they're waiting for you, when you die, and they're going to be biting you and tormenting you on your way to hell, So he got serious and said, how can I be freed? Well, you have to give up, this killing and all, and surrender. And the sign of surrender is you give up your bow. And how will I be maintained? This is my livelihood. So don't worry, I'll send all your necessities. All you have to do is do what I say. So the hunter was intelligent. and he broke his bow. Broke his bow through down. So he says, okay, now you sell everything, and you and your wife retired, and you live at home, and you chant Hare Krishna, and I'll provide everything. So that's what happened. As soon as they heard that Narada Muni had transformed a hunter into a great devotee, and all the people in the villages, surrounding villages, came to see. And of course, they brought some offering, just like you see people bring bags of rice here. So he had more than enough. And then sometime later, he came down to see his disciple, and he brought a friend, Parvat Muni. He's another great sage. So they're approaching the little cottage that they had. And the hunter disciple, no longer a hunter, he sees his spiritual master, and he's ecstatic. He gets up, he's waving his chadar, and he's bowing down. But instead of just bowing down, he's taking his chadar and whisking everything before bowing. And so Parvat Muni asked, so what are you doing, He said, well, I don't want to hurt the ants. They're all on the path, so he's whisking away. Here's a hunter who was tormenting animals, and taking pleasure. And he wouldn't even hurt an ant. So you could be transformed. That's the idea. But these actions, based on violence and without, of course, ignoring any scriptural injunction, and they're destructive of society. All right, text 26. Mukta sango nahambadi dvityutsaha samanvitaha sidnyor vikara karta satvika uchyate. So we had the action, now we have the actor. And this could be this one we'll pick up tomorrow in text 27. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness is always transcendental to the material modes of nature. He has no expectations for the result of the work entrusted to him, because he is above false ego and pride. Still, he is always enthusiastic till the completion of such work. He does not worry about the distress undertaken. He is always enthusiastic. He does not care for success or failure. He is equal in both distress and happiness. Such a worker is situated in the mode of goodness. Okay, so this reminds me of Jayananda, the famous, one of Prabhupada's disciples, 1967, in San Francisco. And he had this enthusiasm for serving, doing any menial servants. In fact, he had to drive a cab like 12 hours a day when they started the temple, because there's no source of income. So he's supporting the whole temple by driving his taxi. He was older. He was like 28. Everybody is 19, 20. He's 28. And they performed the duty without associating with the modes of nature, with great determined enthusiasm, without wavering in success or failure, and work in the mode of goodness. So that's the kind of attitude we can have, and it's quickly purifying. And you soon find that, see, Krishna reciprocates by giving you more attraction for the holy name, for the books, for the association, for being a devotee. It becomes very satisfying, and you've come to like an island of peace in your life. If you can enthusiasm performing the services that need to be done. So that's the kind of work that seems to be described here. Mukta Sangha, liberated from all material association. And liberating from material association. Okay, I want to leave a little bit of time so I could share some more poems with you. Now tomorrow we're going to resume our recording. Our friend Jugal Kishore, I assume he'll show up tomorrow, usually comes on Wednesdays. With Brajamandal. And I don't know if you remember last week he had his camera here. He's a professional photographer. So he wanted to get these and put them on YouTube. But I thought I would share a few systematically with you. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. Here. Okay. So we had that one. Now here's a very nice one composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was a very prominent scholar in Jagannath Puri. Lord Chaitanya went there, and he was kind of a Mayavadi, but he was also very favorable, and he helped Lord Chaitanya. And so he converted him the bhakti, became one of his close associates there. So he wrote this verse, and it's very interesting because, you know, sometimes it's hard to figure out the beat of these verses, even these little ones. But there's also variations. But this is, anyone can chant this. All the verses of all syllables are the same. They're all long syllables. Barhapidam maulau bimrad vangshi nadan atanvan nana kalpa shri sampanno gopastribi sambita netranandam kurvan Krishna. Excuse me. Tvam ched asmad viksetha save kama sampadyerat asmakam vidyasina. Very unusual. I've never seen another verse like that. So I put it into a translation into a poem that has basically the same meter. Peacock plumes bedeck your crown, enchanting songs with flute you sing, wearing lovely ornaments while standing in the gopis' ring. Dear most Krishna, eyes delight, if you would kindly glance our way, all our heart's desires would be fulfilled on this most blessed day. Hare Krishna. You're welcome to, if you want, I can send you these poems and you can memorize them. Now here's a verse from the Padyavali. Padyavali is Rupa Goswami's favorite verses. It's like his own nectar file. He wrote a few of them, but most of them are by others. This one is by Sri Kavi Ratna, means the jewel of poets. And this glorifies glorifying Krishna. Aho aho bir nakale baduyate sudha sudhara modalam pade pade. Dine dine chandana chandra shitalam yasho yashodatana yasagiyate. Because at every step they drink a flood of wondrous nectar sweet, whose cooling power sandal paste enhanced with camphor can't defeat. They feel as if the raging blaze of Kali's days had ne'er begun. How blessed are they who fill their days with praise of Sri Yashoda's son. Sri Yashoda's son is Krishna. So Prabhupada completely fits him. He filled his days. You get up, he would dictate his purports, and the time came, you know, to meet the devotees. He would do that, chanting Hare Krishna, taking a morning walk, writing. He's filling his days. How blessed! Now here's a prayer for hearing Krishna's flute song. This one is written by Rupa Goswami. Jagadudhadamarudidudina madunamandadamindadadurapa mamatarshpadan madantakatvan mudadinada sudhadunidunitam. Your flute sends forth a flood of nectarous sound, a river where the sweetest sweetness lies. Indeed, no better beverage can be found, yet even Shri can't drink it, though she tries. This Shri is the goddess of fortune, but she's not a gopi, she can't hear the flute. Yet even Shri can't drink it, though she tries. O Krishna, kindly hear this desperate plea from one now deep in misery immersed. Please let my ears drink in that melody, so that my heart may slake its burning thirst. Okay, this is one of my all-time favorites. This was a verse spoken by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's instructing him in what we just had, Abhideya Tattva, Abhideya Gyan, which is the process of devotional service. So it goes like this. This one I know. Kama dinang katina katita palita du nideshas te sham jata mayana karunanattapano prashanti Utrijaitan hadayatupate sampratam labdha buddhis tvamayata kshadanamabayam mam niyung svatmadasye. In how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? They've shown me no mercy. Yet on I've gone shamelessly trying to quench lust unquenchable fires. But now I'm rejecting these hellish desires, for my higher intelligence now has awoken. O Krishna, O shelter of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken. Okay, one more. Oh, okay, this one came up this morning in the lecture. This is one of the last prayers of Queen Kunti, chapter 8, first canto. Probably would love these. Trayame ananda vishaya matir manupate sakrit Ratamun vahataradha gange bhaugamadhanvati O Madhu's Lord, please ever fill my mind with thoughts of thee, not any other kind. As Ganges torrent flows into the sea, let all my love flow constantly to thee. One more. The Utkala Balari, this is Rupa Goswami's final poem, and it's a expression of his most ardent desires. Pashapalavat, I chant this every morning when we greet the deities, we come to Radha Krishna, then I'm offering. Pashapalavat and Nindana Vadametang Maharate He Yuvam Bhavatu Panayo Bhave Bhave Bhavatori Vabadambujeshame. O Radha Krishna, children of the best of coward men, this single boon I beg from you again and yet again. In all the countless births my endless sins will make me meet. Let all my love flow toward your luscious, lustrous lotus feet. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you for listening. Anyone who wants my poems, write me at Dravida108, Gmail. Hare Krishna. All right, so we'll begin there next time. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Krishna. All right, let me not lose my place here. Yeah. Text 27 tomorrow. So, Andrea, can you come tomorrow? Maybe not, huh? Okay. You can always find it on YouTube, you know. They're all there. We actually have hundreds of lectures on there.